Alright, so I'm going to, just for kicks, we're going to try to do a tour of the song folder, which has all the collected lyrics, original copies of everything, most everything dating back to the late 90s. And it might not come through. I'm hoping the light will work. This camera does particularly poorly with print, so we'll see how it works. It might not work. But as you can see, the cover, of course, is the cover of the folder itself has been duct taped about 1,000 times to keep it in shape. That is not a communist red star. I got it off of a Macy's bag, which I find really funny. And then the back, of course, is a IRA insurgent superimposed on a Texas weed flag. And 90.1 used to, I don't know if it still is, it used to be a really cool radio station in Austin. And so we'll see how this comes out. It might not work. We'll see. So you can see the song. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of pages of songs here. The right side of the folder tends to be the go-to beginning, early, hot list, A-list, top shelf material. Left side, not so much. So you got a lot of newer stuff on the right, starting with El Perro Callejero, the Spanish gospel song I wrote in Oaxaca last year. A copy of Chelsea Hotel No. 2 by Leonard Cohen, which was a good cover to do back in Jerome. And I changed the chords so that I could sing it in a good range. It was in my range. A couple of new songs, a bunch of new songs. We'll skip over those since you all don't know them at all. This is the hot list. These are the top shelf material, stuff that hasn't been recorded yet and will hopefully soon. White Knuckles in the Spirit World off of Is It For Real? Handwritten from 2014, early 2014. Another new one, some new ones. We're going to skip over the new stuff because it hasn't been tried yet. Blue Velvet used to cover this in Jerome, and we can see that the bridge there, it's very clearly indicated that I'm supposed to sing that line alone. My duet partner at the time liked to sing that song. We sang each other, we traded verses, and she always sang this along with me, but it was supposed to just be me, so that was made point clear there. Dirty Old Town, never played it. Considered learning it, apparently. My Ass is Hooked on Dynamite from January of 2008. This ended up on the Blinded by Faggots record, which of course is the song's also on the Sideburns in the Sun Greatest Hits Volume 1. So Bad It Hurts. This song is unfortunately got kind of lost. A lot of songs on Vampire Cats got lost. This is I always loved this tune. Vampire Cats is but this is from 2008. Vampire Cats is a really great demo. I really can't stand it. It's unlistenable production, but the songs are great, so it's kind of a loss. I'd like to record that again someday. God knows if that'll ever happen. The Heart I Know by Heart, original, handwritten. A lot of this stuff is kind of handwritten. This was written because I'm not sitting at a computer. A lot of times I'm sitting in the back of a van or in a hotel room. And by hotel room I mean flop house. This is the end of 2013, San Antonio. The Heart I Know by Heart. I don't think this is coming through, unfortunately. This video might not be worth anything. We'll see. Sin on Wheels. This one was actually printed out, typed out and printed out, December of 03, early 04. A couple of bad, in fact there's a couple of scratched out lines here that ended up in another song. Tumbleweed, the original lyrics of that written on the back of an old poster from an early show in the Verde Valley. That was when the Wild Boars was a new name. This was written on in the desert near Cottonwood in the Verde Valley, and you can see it's all scratched out, and don't sing this verse and sing this verse instead, and scratch them, you know, move them around. And that's the copy of the lyrics. It's not, you know, that's the one I would use if I needed to read it. True Love is a Trip. It was printed out at some library somewhere. Half written though. The last verse was added on afterwards, apparently, by hand, from May of 2016. The Wild Woods are weird. Back of a printout of a flower, apparently. Written over the course of 2015. Written in dark ink. The only version of that song that's printed out. The only version of those lyrics. It's What It's. Written in 2 different places, apparently. This is the original lyrics, of course, obviously. Hell Reprise refers to the fact that it shares the same chord changes as When You Go to Hell, and it's on the same record, so, and it's got the same infernal tone, so that's the reason for the subtitle. And this was written in Buffalo Peak Road in Colorado and Fayetteville, Arkansas. In fact, I know for a fact that the music was from Colorado, and then I wrote the lyrics in a Motel 6 in Fayetteville in one day. Recorded it on that day, matter of fact. That's a new one. Hasn't been recorded yet. We'll save it for later. Sleeping Sea number 3. This was always a good one. I always liked this song. This is one that nobody is aware of for the most part. Written over the course of a couple of years between Texas and California. This is off of Slow Burning Fun, I believe, Volume 2, recorded in '09. It's actually a pretty good recording, considering that was a ramshackle session and done in a lot under duress, in haste. But these are the lyrics for it. It's a good one. The best of the Sleeping Sea trilogy. My Church is in the Trees. I remember this one for sure. And what happens is that the song will actually get scratched out in the notebooks, and then I'll make a quote-unquote official copy of it, usually by hand, on a piece of blank paper. And this was written in September of 2016 in New Orleans, and I remember definitely writing that. That was a wild trip, for sure. Lonely Flowers. Into 2013 to early 2014. This is off of Your Arms Inside Me. That's a good song, too. Lonely Flowers. Love Is Never Wasted on You. This was a silly tune. Written as the whole point of it was to put a optimistic twist on the end of the Love Is Wasted record. It was not written in advance. What I had was a banjo scrap recording of wave file of a banjo track that I had no use for, wasn't doing anything with, and so and there was no way to change it, so I just wrote these lyrics to fit it. And it's just a minute and a half, minute 15 seconds long. It's supposed to be silly. and it's supposed to be a kind of an optimistic end to an otherwise hopeless record. And you know, whatever, you know what I mean. Wandering the Halls. This is a good one. This track was surprisingly difficult to record, but this was written in Magdalena, New Mexico, when I was living there in 2015 at the Magdalena Hall Hotel, room 13, which was room 13 Studios. I don't think it's a room 13 anymore, I've heard. I got my few friends that I have there. I got a few friends there, actually. But this is a fun song. This was actually written and inspired by living in that hotel, and that was an interesting season too. I had enough money for either a tank of gas to go back to the Verde Valley or a hotel room, and I didn't even really have enough for the hotel room, so I walked into that hotel, and the woman who owned the place, or yeah, I guess she did own it, the proprietor there, Linda, God bless her, she took one look at me and said, "You're a musician, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And she said, "Well, how about you stay here for free in exchange for playing in the restaurant slash lobby thing on the weekends." And it didn't turn out to be entirely necessary, but it was a real godsend, and God bless you, Linda, wherever you are. It was a real wonderful season, and I met some really great people while I was there. Yeah, my personal favorite song of mine, actually, I think will always probably be "Fabulous Dream." This was written in Black Canyon City, Arizona. You can't read that, it's not coming through. This camera's really bad with print. It just doesn't pick up typing. March 14th, 2008, Black Canyon City. Obviously printed out at the library somewhere. My personal favorite song of mine. Wild Hearts Forever. Oh yeah, I remember this one for sure. This was this one came hard. This one was difficult. It was a difficult, I had to really knock this one out. I really had to wrestle this one to get it to come out right. It's a great song, but it was, I wrote this mostly, I don't remember the name of the highway. It was a highway it was about 45 minutes away from Cottonwood. I want to say 260, most of the way to Strawberry and Pine. Not quite that far. At the top of the hill where there was no cell service at all, and it was a very depressing, beautiful and idyllic, but depressing location. And people don't understand that. They think that, you know, living outside is somehow idyllic, and it's actually really depressing. You're stuck there, is what you are. At least I was. You don't have any money, right? So you're kind of there for economic necessity. You're not there because you want to live in the woods. And it's a cycle that just somehow never seems to end. So this was written, I guarantee this was written on some blanket under some pine trees. Probably not any weed. I don't know. One Girl at a Time. This is another one that I really like. This is a good song. This is actually on the, I want to say, the Hellfire in a Nutshell collection. It's actually off of Your Arms Inside Me, I think. And the first line, "I spent the night in Dead Horse, an appropriate location for you and me," is true, because I wrote this at Dead Horse Ranch in Arizona at the end of January 2014. And which maybe is legible, I'm not sure. But there's that, One Girl at a Time. That's a good one. Y'all should listen to that tune. $6 Tux. I don't know when I wrote this. This might actually is what this probably is. The recording's from the end of '05. Actually, I remember I wrote this at the St. Moritz, because that line, like Moses in a cheap pair of Chucks. So there was a guy in Hollywood at the time. He might still be there. It's been a while. It was the better part of 20 years ago. He was known for, he was a cool vagabond in Hollywood whose name was Moses, black guy, kind of a Rasta type, and he always wore Chucks. And but I always thought that, like Moses in a cheap pair of Chucks was a good line, because you think of Moses from the Bible. but in fact it was this interesting vagabond from Hollywood. So nobody would know that except for maybe a handful of people from Hollywood back in the day. There's $6 tux. Give Peace a Chance. I actually never used this. I rewrote it in '07. I remember this actually. I was trying. This was still the Bush years, I think. Yeah, it was. And so I thought this was back when, you know, being a liberal was still not entirely a religious affiliation. We still thought it was about freedom and all that, so, and peace. So I rewrote Give Peace a Chance, updated the lyrics, but I never got around to ever playing it. I've just played it for myself. I wrote it at, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Wekiwa Springs State Park near Orlando, waiting for a show. I had a show in Orlando, or actually Maitland, I believe, if memory serves. That was the end of September of '07, and I'm sitting there waiting to play, waiting to the show, so I sat in the park all day and rewrote Give Peace a Chance, which I've never used. Yo Te Amo Till You Die. This is an older song. This music is old. The end is extremely old. The very end of the song. This is off the Wild Irish Rose record. This is written, the lyrics are written in '08, but the music from the end of the song was left over from the early mid-90s. It was a song that I had played with my early college band that never actually, we never recorded it. We only recorded 6 songs ever, and they're on cassette somewhere. But there's some chord stuff. Damaged Goods, Trucker Tune Deluxe with Cheese. This song never got anywhere either. This is off the Blinded by Faggots record, and this was written at the Galaxy Vine Inn in Hollywood, and at my buddy F's place in Montrose back in '05, early '04 to the end of '05. Took almost 2 years to write this song because it didn't. You sit on it and it doesn't, you know, it's just sitting under construction. It's not like you're actually tearing your hair out for 2 years. It just sits there, and then you get moved to finish it in a day. This is off the Blinded by Faggots record. It never got used anywhere else. It's a good song. I love the chorus. The lyrics are silly and dumb. I wouldn't sing them again. But the music and that chorus, which is the beginning and the end of the song, is actually really great. There's a lot of lost material. It's kind of a drag how it goes away. Hotel Room, off A Fabulous Dream. February to August of '08, between Arizona and California. She makes my life a loving hell. I think we all know how that goes. Speaking of hell, when you go to hell, I remember writing this. This was June to November of 2015. I wrote most of the lyrics near Leadville, camping of course. And this is a great live song, actually. It's a really fun song. You need a band. But this is a good one, including all the list at the end of all the people. Eminem, Russell Brand. There's only 2 people I name. I wouldn't name anybody that I didn't like, formerly like, or respect in some way. I'm not really an Eminem fan, and Russell Brand can do what he pleases. This is a funny tune from 2015. Red Stars and Sparkle Cars, God Hates Flags. And that was I actually recorded that on New Year's Eve in Magdalena, New Mexico. That was what I did on New Year's Eve. I tracked it. I did all the, because that's all, there's nothing live on that song except for some guitar and the vocals, of course, but it's mostly synth and drum loops and stuff, so I kind of buried myself in headphones on New Year's Eve 2015 and knocked that tune out. Farewell Song, Sweet From My Trees. I love this tune. That's a great title. It's Kerouac. I never have been able to get my hands on that story. It's an early Kerouac story. Farewell Song, Sweet From My Trees. This was written at the very beginning of my sobriety, which the lyrics kind of make clear. They're clear to me anyway. Most written over 2 days in Redwood National Park, Northern California, and then Highway 101 South near Point Arena, California. So this was written on my way back to Jerome from my buddy's farm in Oregon. And so that's why it says, you know, the forest blinded me until I could see the lie I had become. Because it gets really dark up there in the forest. It's dark. This is a poem from Magdalena. I don't know why that's in there. Just whatever. It's not a song. It's a good title. I am a verb. You are a noun. Written on the back of the ad we had back in '08, trying to sell the Airstream because the tow vehicle broke down, so we ended up stranded in 5 cities area of California for a summer. It's a long story, an interesting story, and I wrote these lyrics on the I don't remember when I wrote this, July to September of 2012. It says, chasing the snail as opposed to the dragon. If you've been chasing the dragon long enough, you will realize that you're tired of it. You'd rather chase the snail. You will miss me when I burn. Love this song. What's his name? Bonnie Prince Billy, I think, wrote that. Great song. Never played it. Apparently I wanted to, never did. Forgot the lyric was even in there. Is it for real? Written on 89B. Oh yeah, I remember that. Title track off the Is It For Real record, obviously. Written January, February 2014. 89B in Arizona, which is off of 89A, about halfway between Sedona and Cottonwood. Great place to camp. Years go by, it gets a little old. But I remember writing that. I remember I had on a blanket, and I was sitting on a blanket under a juniper tree, and that was back when I was new in that area and was still inspired by it. Will You Be My Dirty Girl? That's an old one. Never went anywhere either, from '07. April of '07. This was a top shelf song at the time. Got recorded poorly on Vampire Cats, because Vampire Cats is just a bad production. Great song. Great songs. This is a great song. But I re-recorded it for the Sideburns in the Snow Greatest Hits collection. So you can check it out on there. I think I'm going to make a YouTube video of those Greatest Hits collections here coming up soon. Anyway, You Will Be My Dirty Girl. It's amazing how these A-list tunes become forgotten. It's just, you know, Wild Orchid. Yeah. This is a fun one. This was written end of 2015, early 2016. I had a show in Reno. And there's this strip club there called the Wild Orchid with a hotel above it called the Ponderosa Hotel, and the gig I had was down the street. You could see it, and I just was, you know, either after, I don't remember, after or before the show, loading of drums or something, I forget. I had a good drummer in Reno too. He was cool. He bailed eventually, but he was cool. We had a good vibe, and he was fun to play with and hang out with, wherever you are, man, if you're still out there. But I just was standing there looking at the place, waiting to play, or finishing playing, and the tune just jumped in my head. I want to live in the Ponderosa Hotel above the Wild Orchid with a mystery bell. And I really like this song for another reason. It's not strictly, obviously there's a few changes in it, but it's the same exact chord progression as It's What It's. It's got a couple of changes in it, but it's the same exact chords for the most part, and it is right after or before It's What It's. I think it's right before it on the Wild Hearts of Record Forever, and it does not sound the same. And I always like that kind of thing. It's not about rediscovering a new chord progression. You have a limited amount of things to work with. You know, so you've got only so many chords you can play unless you're a jazz musician. and even those guys are probably somewhat limited, but those of us in the C major world are very limited. So it's not really about reinventing the wheel, it's about rearranging the wheel to be unique. Oh, a beautiful place. Oh yeah, very much. This is an older one too. You can see some of the stains. This is lyrics. This is from Maltman Avenue when I lived in Silver Lake in LA, September of 2003. I wrote this song there, and yeah, I played it every day for like 2 years, and I haven't played it really much since. That's not strictly true, but it went through it was like my top shelf A-list song for a while, and then it just fades. They get replaced. Oh yeah, gospel song written in Austin at the end of '06 on a typewriter here. Some musical notes to what the melody is going to be relative to the chord changes. Just some little bit of a notation, and then of course the chords in the verse, so that you don't get lost. I don't know what this is. Written on the back of something. Who knows? Well, we're in the gospel section now. Just a closer walk with thee. Just copied out of a hymn book, hymnal for lyric and chord reasons. I'll Fly Away. Written on the stationery of the First Baptist Church of Hollywood, which was the only church I've ever been a member of. Pastor Gates, wherever you are, love you, man. Thank you for everything. The only pastor I've would ever consider actually calling a pastor, and at this point in time I don't think that title is valid for the most part anymore. But at the time, anyway, this is the one place that I was ever actually a member of a church. I'll never see it again. I wouldn't foresee, but this is, I'll Fly Away is obviously an old standard, but the lyrics were written down on the First Baptist Church of Hollywood stationery. Old Rugged Cross, just lyrics from an old standard tune. If hell is a party, I'm the hors d'oeuvres. Written at the end of '06. This was kind of written with, this was at the beginning of my Austin life. I've been there for about 2 months. And you get all those kind of Red River types that were, I loved Red River too. It was my part of town. It was suitable for me. But, they're all hellions, and they're all thinking they're being rebellious, and we're tough guys, and we're hardcore, and we're badass, and we drink, and we smoke, and we're tattooed, and I don't know, I'm like, you know what, I can write a more hardcore song about it, and then twist it at the end, and just show you all that it's really, no, actually kind of a good song, and the end of it is like, the guy, the protagonist repents, and he's like, oh my gosh, if hell is a party, I'm the hors d'oeuvres, and, but the whole song is about how hardcore I am, and it's supposed to be funny, obviously. It's really silly, and it's a good one. It's off of Slow Burning Fun, I believe. One Last Kiss, written in '07 in Austin, early '07. This is off of Vampire Cats. This is actually the only song I think off Vampire Cats that made it on any greatest hits. I'm not sure of that 100%, but it's on the Sideburns in the Sun collection. That's an inspired tune. It's a good song. Kind of hard to sing, actually. There's that kind of soaring. It goes to the very top of my vocal range. Drunk Tank of My Dreams, obviously a printout from the library off of the American Infidel record, written in '03, apparently. Drunk Tank of My Dreams. Vampire Cats. Self-explanatory. Library printout. Probably from the East Austin, I want to say 11th or 12th Street. I want to say 11th Street branch. May of '07. Good song. It'll never get played. Immediately obsolete. Beauty Never Dies. I always liked this one. This was a fun one actually to write. Printed out, or well, yeah, printed, typed actually. You can tell that's a typewriter. October of '06 in Austin. On the back of a flyer, or a piece of a flyer for headhunters, when headhunters used to be headhunters, before the bar rescue people came and destroyed it and turned it into a steampunk, trendy wasteland. It was a cool place, actually. Red River used to be cool, man. Austin used to be cool. And I didn't get there when it was cool. San Francisco, Here I Come. That's a big one. It used to be. Written in Prescott National Forest, Arizona in May of '08. I don't remember that at all, but that's what it says. I guess I do remember that. Yeah, that was their Airstream days. Sunny Day. I think I wrote this. Yep. At the St. Moritz Hotel. And sunny day at the St. Moritz Hotel on a rainy day, 14th of April 2003. That doesn't, you can't see that, unfortunately. St. Moritz Hotel on Sunset Boulevard is actually referenced in a Tom Waits song from the 70s. I lived there a lot. That was like my kind of go-to place in Hollywood. It was a real hellhole. I could talk about that. It would take a week. I wrote this song for Shanda, who was never my girlfriend, and that's why I can name it, because she's cool. She was my good friend. Wherever you are, Shanda, I hope you're doing well. We were never in love or anything. She was my good friend. Went through she really bailed me out of some stupid situations back in the day, in the Hollywood drug days. Anyway, Sunny Day, written, I remember it, yeah. St. Moritz Hotel, 2003. Trailer on the Moon, also written at the St. Moritz, December of '02. This was about Junkie Chick. The one I actually was stupid enough to be in a relationship with. It's actually, I just made a video of it on for a video I just shot here in Guanajuato. So if you want to hear the song, it's also on Volume 2 of the Greatest Hits, Sideburns in the Snow. Ashtray is a big, silly, dumb tune with no no reference point as to when it was even written. But I remember making the recording in '02, so it was written before that. Cheshire Moon, written May of '08. That's a good one, actually. Bloody Basin Road in Arizona. Living in the Airstream, I assume. That would have been about that time. Cheshire Moon on the Slow Burning Fun record, and Volume 1 of the Greatest Hits. Rhode Island. Rhode Island, written on June 5th, 2005 on some Ramada stationery in Burbank, California. Silly wordplay on the state, Rhode Island. And which actually ended up, the actual music ended up on the Love Is Wasted record in 2017, so that music's had around for 12 years. Happens a lot. There's some silly notes on the back I won't even bother with. Love Never Fails. It's a good one. That used to be, it never really came off live. The full version is on Vampire Cats, but I took the intro and outro out for the Garage Door record, which is a better version. And I'm kind of glad to get that song out of my face, though it was a good song. My kind of Mulholland love song, man. The Blinded by Faggots record and the Vampire Cats records are really, really low-grade demos for the most part, production-wise. But this is a good song. I'd like to really see this one come out again. Such a great song. Written at the end of '04 on Mulholland. Well, not on Mulholland. but about Mulholland Drive. True F, I'm not even going to bother. The times they are a-changin', ugh. Great song for busking. You can make yourself a few bucks playing this song in the subways. This one will get you some change. But man, I can't stand Bob Dylan. That's all I want to say about that. In the Doghouse again. This was a good song that got lost too. I kind of like this. Is actually kind of a lucky recording off of Your Arms Inside Me, written at the end of 2013 on I-81 in southern Pennsylvania. Apparently. Probably an arrest stop somewhere. Just had to write it. Used to be the case. This is the only version of the lyrics. Oh, I can't be your drug. This is still a live standard. Written January 2014 in Tucson. I can't be your drug. Just printed out or handwritten on a piece of notebook paper. And it fits on one side. It's a good one. It's a good song. Crown of Spiders. This is old. Yep. June 6, 07 in Austin. Just a song about those days. It's been recorded twice. It got redeemed from the demo of Vampire Cats. There's a good version of it on Rural Mortis. Lay Low, same thing. A really, really, really moribund version on Is It For Real, I think. But that got resuscitated for Rural Mortis was a good record. That's really that album saved a few songs. Most of that album is songs that were already recorded, and then they got improved. Lay Low is one of them, written in April of 2014. Just kind of, here, don't sing that, and when you get to this part, sing it here, and you know, I adjust my cape and make my escape through the alleys of my mind, etc. How Great Thou Art. No explanation necessary. Gospel tune. The last verse of Is It For Real, added on after the fact. The best part of the song, which is why I can't sing it anymore, because I can't change it, because it's too good to change, and I can't sing it. I just can't sing those lines. It's just, they're too crass. If you're, we've gotten to the point where if you're offended by something being crass, you're uptight. But if you're offended by somebody being not able to sing their own material because it's too crass, then you're offended by that. I'd say that's a red flag. Welcome to Sunshine. I remember this too. I wrote this in Maryland, I believe. Yeah, October of '04, or either about Maryland. I was staying on a horse ranch at the time. They decided they didn't want me to be their caretaker. They were going to go on vacation in Europe, changed their plans when they realized I was not entirely the right guy for the job. And apparently it never actually worked out this way, but according to the notes, I wanted to make sure that I was a segue into She Hates You under penalty of death, so I guess I have to pay for that. May God have mercy on my soul, since it actually is not on even the same album as She Hates You. That's a good recording. Welcome to Sunshine. I'm not sure if that, I think that might have actually made it onto maybe volume 3 of the greatest hits. Everything Explodes at Its Own Pace off of Broken Bird. That's kind of a fun song. Oh, here's one. I don't even know what this is. Armies of Satan. Oh, those are stupid lyrics. I don't know what that obviously didn't go anywhere. I don't know what that was supposed to mean or what that didn't go anywhere. It happens a lot. You have to throw it down. It'll finish itself, or it won't, and you can't force it. If you do, you are disingenuous and not an artist. Anyway, there's Everything Explodes at Its Own Pace off a Broken Bird, handwritten and scratched out and replaced. Notes of various kinds. June of '09 in Austin. I Want to Make You My Girl. Self-explanatory. '07, Austin. off of Vampire Cats. All Is Well in Hell. That's a good song. Depressing. Printed handwritten on the back of a black and white copy of the Fabulous Dream album cover. This is actually not on any albums. This is on volume 3 of the Greatest Hits. Sunny Day in Outer Space. Actually, I wrote the. This is one of those I wrote. Actually, All Is Well in Hell is one of those few songs that was written on the recording software. I just kind of started tracking things. I didn't have a song in mind before I started recording. Usually the songs are written in the forest or in the desert or in a flop house, and then I take them to a machine later. That case was not true. Death Is Not a Part of Life. Just some lyrics from the beginning of 2013. And that's actually a bonus track off of, I want to say, Holy Smokes, I'm pretty sure. Never fit in anywhere. That's a pretty good recording, and I like the song. Bleeding Heart. From June of 2000. This was like a top shelf. So you go through a period where you have to have a C major country song. So you write one C major clippity clop country beat song, and then it lasts for a year or 3 or 8, and then it gets replaced with another one. I think my new clippity clop C major country song is True Love Is a Trip. And there's only really ever room enough for, depending on how long your show is, one or maybe at the most. So you have to choose. And Bleeding Heart was the top shelf C major country song for many years, but it's 20 years old, and has been long since replaced by a handful of others, the newest of which is True Love Is a Trip. Robo Bitch. This is a good one. This was a good recording. Written in early 2014, all full of ink stains from getting wet at shows and bleeding through from some bad printout of a show flyer from Arizona back in those days when that song was new. Never have played it. It's not a good live song anyway. You need a really great band for that. And I've had some great bands, but you need something. It's a weird tune. It's not an acoustic guitar song. Eat Your Joy. I had a weird dream while I was staying with these guys that I met at a church. This dude who had spent 7 years in prison for being a dope dealer, and his dad, and they were really cool, and we were friends, and didn't have a falling out, but just kind of things move away. He tried to play bass for me for a while, but he wasn't into the music, and that doesn't work. And but anyway, while I was staying at their place in Cottonwood, I had a dream and wrote the song Eat Your Joy about the dream. Love Is a Room. I know this is not the original. Actually, I have the original. I left it behind, but I'll print it. Just an uneventful, uninteresting printout from '04 for lyrical reference reasons. Telephone. What the heck song is this? What? I think this is off of. See, that's a good song too, man. I really wanted to redo the Vampire Cats album, because there's so many great songs on there that just got lost in the fact that that's just an unlistenable record production-wise. That's a great song. I've been sitting here all alone. Yeah, that chorus is good too. That's a good song. Telephone. Psychotic Sky. Please Don't Hurt Me. This was written August 4 of '07, apparently. I remember I was hanging out with my buddies in Austin, and I was the banjitar player for this Irish punk rock band, which had kind of a Poguesy, flogging Molly vibe. And we were hanging out after rehearsal. I was just the banjitar player. I was not the leader. And we're hanging out, and some lunatic, some local dude. We were downtown. It was downtown Austin back in '07, and some local lunatic. You could just see this crackhead. He was just this homeless drug addict, and he saw us standing outside the house, and he made a beeline for us. And then my friend, who was the leader of that band, he's like, oh no, this is gonna suck. It was really funny, and he was just a lunatic. And so the last line is kind of it's about him. I'm the dirtiest, most courteous man you will ever meet. If you're ever running in a schizophrenic fury down the street, and manual lever is a wordplay that has never been explained or understood, or even is there no way you would ever hear it. But courteous man you will ever meet is spelled manual, like manual with hands. Manual lever, as in pulling the lever, and then meat, as in hamburger meat. So I'm the dirtiest, most courteous manual lever meat. It's fun wordplay. It's the first time I've ever explained that. Never been necessary. I just took the Christmas Eve Jesus loving mother effer line stanza out, which is a double whammy blessing because this was written before I knew what "don't ask, don't tell" means. So it's just kind of a good line that rhymes with the next stanza, but I didn't know that it had some kind of gay military meaning. And so losing that stanza is a double blessing in disguise, because I don't want to explain that anymore. Let's just be friends. Oh yeah, I'll never forget that. Written at the Laundry Estate in Cornville, Arizona, in April of 2014. It's a 2-minute song off of Is It For Real? The Loneliest Road turned into The Lonely Road, written on the road trip from Austin to the Northwest, probably on Highway. This is written about Highway 50 in Nevada. It probably goes to, I don't know, North Carolina. But it's Highway 50 goes through the middle of Nevada. It's called The Loneliest Highway, Lonely Road, or The Lonely, I forget, something like that. So the title of the song ended up just becoming The Lonely Road because it's a better title. But it was originally, and apparently has never been printed any other way. But The Loneliest Road, that's off of Fabulous Tree, and that's a good song. That recording turned out really well. This is a silly one. Laundromat on the south side of Detroit, not dated. Laundromat on the south side of Detroit. It was entirely written, this is off the Wild Irish Rose album. This is old, but it was written with the purpose of, as a response to John Lennon saying that he did not write Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds about LSD, and I think that's kind of unbelievable. So Laundromat on the south side of Detroit, but it's about LSD, but he said it's not about LSD. So I wrote a song that was like definitely trying to spell LSD, but which has got nothing to do with LSD. So it's called Laundromat on the south side of Detroit, LSD, but the song's got absolutely nothing to do with acid at all. So it's kind of like my silly response to Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles. That's off the Wild Irish Rose album. That's actually a pretty good recording. Everything I Have Is Yours, title track from gospel record, written North Hollywood in May of '05. Was originally going to be a duet with my buddy Ray, great singer. Lost him to BLM, became a BLM fanatic, which is unfortunate. And that was years ago too that I lost him to that. That was way before any of this nonsense going on now. But this song's from '05. I met him about that time. Supposedly a Christian brother. I don't know. But it's good. That's a good original gospel tune. Dirty Magazine. Oh, this is a real treat. This is a real treat. This is the Dirty Magazine, which ends off of the what do you call it? Slow Burning Fun album. It ended up on Volume 1 of the Greatest Hits. But it's also, while I was writing it, I thought I would do a duet. It's supposed to be a duet. It's obviously a duet. Even the recording is a duet. It has to be a duet. It's an argument between a couple, an argument in song. And I was originally going to do it with Izzy Cox, and she was, I was like, well, let's see. I never see how that works. So this is her actual handwriting and her kind of trying to figure out her verses, because I was like trying to kind of see if. And as it turns, I've learned this that for the most part, with the exception of Scuba Power off of Rural Mortis, I'm not, and that was really rare because I don't normally share lyric lyric writing. I don't do it anymore, and this is kind of why. These aren't bad lyrics or whatever. It's just it wasn't, you know, it didn't work. It didn't just quite work with Izzy for whatever reason, and whatever reason, just didn't work. But this is the original copy, and you can't even read the handwritten second or third and fourth verses because of the blue Izzy ink bleeding through. So that's the original Dirty Magazine, written in '06, which would have been around the time that I met Izzy. I knew her for a couple years before that. Sad and Lonely, off of the gospel record. Just a printout. That's an original. Oh wow, I forgot about this. Lord, I'm Coming Home. That's a good song. Obviously a photocopy from a hymnal. Never played it. I did learn it. I might have played it at church. I don't remember. Gospel set list for when I'm playing at a gospel show, and I want to. These are the songs that will be suitable for that show, if that's what you would call it. I Love You, silly song off of. I don't even know. From '07, recorded I think on Wild Irish Rose in 2013. Frozen Heart of Love, written in 2013. Really loosely thrown together. It's not even organized. Actually, this song was commissioned. Somebody paid me to write it, and we filled out a contract so I could keep the rights. So this was actually written for. I realized that in fact getting paid is not as uninspiring as they want you to think it is. A copy of the lyrics from Outsider by the Ramones, off of I want to say either Pleasant Dreams or Subterranean Jungle, I forget. That's my Ramones cover, and that and another one, I forget the name of that one. It was off of it was a country song, kind of country, and the Johnny Ramone lead line worked really well on the harmonica, questioningly. That's a great song, and I actually played it a couple times, but I never played it a lot. This one I played fairly regularly. I still kind of can. I love that Dee Dee bridge. I love those lyrics. Anyway, this is my reference. Oh, here's some other song called All the Way that never went anywhere. That never finished. I don't have any idea what that is. Got a few verses into it, and it died. Telepathic Proposal, which got redeemed from Vampire Cats. That's on the Garage Door record. That's a great recording, actually. Written in '07. And Austin, Let's Get Married. Very simplistic. That song really needs to be re-recorded, actually. That evolved really well. That's a good. That's actually a highlight. There's a good version of it on the Live in Santiago record, but it's really fun with a band. But the new arrangement is on the Live in Santiago record. There's a demo-ish kind of slow version on Slow Burning Fun. Dark Side of the Dog. Now we're getting, wow, it's way back there. Off the Diamonds record, written in the Sestri Hotel, and you can't read that, and the Hotel St. Paul in San Francisco in March of '02. The Sestri Hotel was in Chinatown, and they just had a white, like, iron gate on the street that you had to buzz, and they'd let you in. And then the first floor was actually on the second floor. It was upstairs from a Chinese market in Chinatown. And then Hotel St. Paul was a cool place. It turned into a hellhole. They took it over. Somebody took it over, and me and my ex-wife tried to stay there in '08, and it had totally changed and was no longer cool. But it had this old, from the early 20th century, maybe even late 19th century. It was an old building on the corner of, I want to say, Kearny and Columbus in San Francisco. Back when San Francisco, I used to go there on a regular basis and spend 5 weeks trying to get jobs and playing open mics and whatever, kind of living there, but not really. Never stayed there longer than about 6 weeks. and I haven't been there since '08, not counting the East Bay. I want to skip school. Just some lyrics. Printed out, written in '05 in Montrose, California, which would have been my buddy F's apartment. Wild Irish Rose, lead or title track off of Wild Irish Rose. An actual printout of Los Angeles to Leadville. Written, I remember when the first line came to me in Oklahoma, headed west on I-40. Interstate highway, psychedelic snake. I've been jonesing for some Colorado shake. And I started writing it, and I pulled the notebook out and was just writing it on the freeway while I was driving. And finished it in... it was actually the first thing I did when I got to New Mexico, in Magdalena. Was finish these lyrics. Sitting in the M&M Cafe, which is now called Kelly's Place, I believe. God bless that guy. Good friend of mine from Magdalena. The Tragedian. Written the beginning of 14. This is off A Visit for Real. Inspired by the character in The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. So this is a... well, it's not a gospel song, obviously. Quasi-Christian song here. Try to blow through this. The battery's getting low. Life Itself. We're gonna do this. We'll do the second half. We'll do the other side of the folder another day. This is just the right half. Life Itself off of whatchamacallit, Where I Belong. Off of Fabulous Dream. Wonderland Covered in Tar is a great song that has not ever been heard, and the recording isn't terrible. It's a highlight off of Vampire Cats, but it isn't great. Titled after a painting by my ex-wife, Alyssa. That's a great title. I borrowed the title. She was aware of it. But Wonderland Covered in Tar. Wonder if she ever sold it. No Place for Me, very old. Written in '05. Printed out on the in hand. No, actually. Printed. Computer printout with chord chart. Trying to blow through this before the battery dies. No Place for Me ended up, I'm not sure what album that's on, but it is on the Hellfire in a Nutshell Greatest Hits record. Blue Summer, California tune from '05. Love Binge, Speed Hell, that never went anywhere. I never actually, never got any, that just got no music. I never finished it. Yeah, that's never going to go anywhere. Taj Motel, written about, well, I was driving through the South, and I actually drove by a place called the Taj Motel. And it ended up as a song that I wrote at the St. Moritz, I'm sorry, at the Gilbert on Wilcox in Hollywood, which is not the, I'm sure that's a nice hotel now too, or nice apartments, I think. Freaking wasps. Taj Motel. But it was a great name for a motel. It was a real dump, too, a dangerous looking place in somewhere in the South. I don't know where. And I just said, wow, what a great name for a motel. Especially being a real dump that it was, a real hellhole. Get away from me, man. Freaking wasps. But you can see this is very scratched out and chicken scratch all over the place. And let's move along before the battery dies, which is going to happen any moment here. Drunken Lullabies. That's it for this side anyway. We actually learned this, I think, for the Wild Boars back in Arizona, but never played it. We never got real good at it. I think we're even going to change the, we're going to shift around the, like trade the verses. Have, you know, everybody sing their own verse and stuff, but we never played it live. We never got quite good enough at it. We're not a cover band. Well, anyway, that's the end of the right side of the song folder, so we'll come back another time for the left side, and thanks for watching.